JT Miller making amends after a boneheaded penalty in the offensive zone.
He was looking to take another penalty there in the overtime, just randomly punching people and stuff.
Yeah, and he was kind of all over the place after his penalty there too in the third period in the corner. They did their best to try and lose that game, that's for sure.
I mean, we thought we
But
were going to be
Lankinen wasn't
safe.
having it.
No, Lankinen was like, heck no. I am Blankinen, hear me roar. Yeah, so JT Miller scores the only goal of the shootout, and Lankinen makes 3 saves, so Seattle didn't even score a goal. But honestly, going into a shootout, I think I'm more confident that the Canucks can win a shootout than they can win an overtime, because when it comes down to it, the Canucks are a far more talented team than Seattle is player for player. And so I think I was feeling pretty good going into that shootout that we'd end up pulling it out.
Yeah, and that's only our second shootout of the season, I believe.
Yeah. Swerve and Irvin, they slayed the Kraken with the 279 dono. Thank you, Swerve and Irvin. They slayed the Kraken. Who's your bright spot for the Canucks?
Lankinen, you got to give it to Lankinen.
Yeah.
To come into the game cold after Demko leaves, and to stand on his head and make some incredible saves right out of the gate, and then to keep us in it when Seattle's pressing as hard as they were to get us to the shootout was huge. Stopped 3 Bjorkstrand breakaways in the game, and definitely we owe this one to Lanky. He saved this one for us for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that's a fear when you have one goalie go out with an injury to something, probably from the collision with the lesser of the Tanev brothers, and then to leave the game when you got your next goalie coming in cold and he has to make those big saves right off the bat. You're worried that he's going to pull a groin, he's going to strain his knee, something like that's going to happen. But luckily, it looked like that kind of got him right into the game. So the Canucks giving up those good chances probably helped them get Lankinen into the game right off the bat.
Yeah, and obviously Lankinen has shown this season that he's perfectly capable of doing that, and is perfectly capable of being a starting goalie and taking the pressure. So, good on him for coming in there and picking up the slack. Juleson may become the most hated person in Canucks Nation if Demko is out for any extended period of time.
He's starting to look really strange to me, isn't he? Like, I don't know what goes on in that guy's head. And I think that might be his biggest issue right now, is that whatever his decision process is, it's not working very well because he's still too aggressive when he doesn't need to be. He runs into his own goalie who's still just, getting back into the game. Is he just not aware of where he is on the ice, or like what's his deal?
I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, there's something between the ears that just sometimes doesn't compute. And we talked about it last game, how I had hoped that he would be coming out of the lineup this game because he's been playing too much. And then sure enough, Brandstrom, the one who comes out, Juleson stays in, he crashes into Demko. And now we are waiting and holding our breath and hoping this isn't a serious issue.
It's going to be one of those things too, right? Like, we know the Canucks, we're not going to get any real update on Demko. And even tomorrow, it doesn't matter. Like, nobody's going to be telling us what's going on. So now we're probably just going to be in the same form we were earlier in the season, where it's like, when is Demko going to be back? When is Demko going to be back?
Yeah, she's going to be a long night for Shelovs, I think. I believe the baby Canucks are on their way to Laval, Quebec, and he's probably going to have to turn around and come right back to Vancouver for the game tomorrow.
So have they officially already called him up?
No, but I would imagine that's going to happen real quick. If Demko was unable to return to the bench tonight, I don't foresee him playing tomorrow night. Given what this likely is, let's all be realistic. It's probably his popliteus again, but we never know how long it's going to be, and who knows, this could potentially be a career-ending injury. We don't know, given how difficult it's been for him to come back. If something like a bump like that from a teammate can knock him out for who knows how long now, then we got to wonder if Lankinen might be the future here.
They have the hits in this game of 20 for the Canucks, 19 for Seattle. Does that seem low to you? Like, I feel like there was more contact in this game than the stat sheet is getting this game credit for.
Yeah, it's always a weird stat. Sometimes some hits are given even when a puck has already been played away. Sometimes the puck, the carrier still has to have possession for a hit to count for some people. So it does seem low. It seemed like there was more physicality in this game, but thank goodness we came out on top on this one because that was starting to feel like deja vu with the Kraken coming back there and then getting into overtime, giving up a breakaway in overtime. It felt like it was December 28th all over again.
Well, Tyler Myers, chaos draft comes out of nowhere and scores a beautiful goal top corner to put the Canucks up 3-1. And we're like, okay, maybe we're okay. And then the same thing happens. Like Vince Dunn again scores his 8th of the season to tie the game up with just under a minute left to go. Is Vince Dunn our Tyler Myers as Seattle hates Tyler Myers and now we hate Vince Dunn?
No, it must be. He's getting there. Uh, sure, sure felt like they were gonna score and even that up, and that is something that I don't particularly like feeling as a fan. Um, but for whatever reason, I just felt like they were gonna tie it up and get to overtime, and that's not good. It was just the way we were playing, the way we sit back again. We have defensemen playing situations they shouldn't be playing, and we have chances to get it out, and we are overthinking it instead of making the smart play and chipping it up the boards. We continue to keep it in our end, and we're finding ways to give points to division rivals, and we can't be doing that if we're wanting to make up ground in the playoff race here.
So everyone's kind of chatting in chat about who they think's gonna get called up. Like the obviously She Loves is probably the one who gets called up. Do you think there is any chance that they call Tolopilo up instead?
Given the last two performances that She Loves has had in the AHL, there is the potential for Tolopilo to come up and do the backup role. Um, I don't know if he's ready for that. It would obviously depend on how long Demko is going to be out. If Tolo's just coming to fill in for maybe one game, then potentially he does make the trip to Vancouver tomorrow to fill in and sit on the bench. I would imagine Lankinen would then get the start against Nashville. However, because She Loves has played the last two games for the Abbey Canucks, so we'll see what happens here with the Demko injury and what news comes in the morning. But I would imagine some movement gets going here in a hurry.
You mentioned Shilov's not playing so well down in Abbotsford. Maybe this is a good time to talk about the last Abbotsford Canucks game that happened on New Year's Day against the Calgary Wranglers in Calgary. I'm assuming it didn't go well.
No, not great. First period was a good battle. No scoring in the first. We actually opened the scoring. Sammy Blais in his second game back scored on the power play. A nice setup from Kudryavtsev, and Carlson was the other assist on that one. But then again, Shilov's struggling to track the puck through traffic, gives up a bit of a soft one late in the second period for the Wranglers to tie it up. And then coming out in the third, a delay of game penalty, shooting it over the glass. Um, Two of them back to back, 4 seconds apart. Really put us behind the 8 ball. So 5-on-3 goal was scored by the Wranglers. That put them up 2-1, and then they got their insurance goal about 10 minutes later on another one that was kind of bouncing around in traffic. One of those rebound goals that She Loves has had difficulty tracking in front of him. Christian Wolanin would add his third of the year. But we couldn't get close enough to tie it up. They would add another empty netter to get that 4-2 victory for their second 4-2 victory in a row against us, taking both games in that series.
Yeah, the empty netter always makes it look worse than I guess it would be.
Yeah. And something that has been trending downward a bit is Niels Oman, his point streak that he was kind of racking up the assists. He's been struggling to get on the score sheet lately. So he's in a bit of a slump. Otu Ratu hasn't had many points lately, so hopefully he can break out of that soon. And also, I don't believe Lecker Maggie played the last game. No, he was a scratch for the last game. So
That's probably just like their
um,
roster rules or whatever it is, right?
yeah, just making sure that everyone kind of gets into a game here or there. So
Two losses in a row to Calgary. So the Abbotsford Canucks now, like you said, have to Laval to play the Rockets on January 3rd and January 4th, both at 4 o'clock. So at least they're not scrunching them together. Do we know much about the Laval Rocket?
not too much. They are 18-10 this season, which is a little better than our record. We're a 500 hockey team right now, so um, hard to say what we'll see out of them. Anytime you go out east, it's a little different because you don't see a lot of those teams throughout the year. We've only seen division teams so far, save I think one trip from the Manitoba Moose out to Abbotsford.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's been mostly divisional games. So we will see what that brings when they face off against Laval tomorrow night.
So coming back to the big Canucks, the Vancouver Canucks, I wanted to read
Hmm.
out like we usually do at the end of the game, the 3 stars. So it's Matt Beniers is your third star, 1 goal, 1 assist. Vince Dunn, 1 goal, 1 assist. Guess who this was the Seattle Kraken color commentator because they made JT Miller the first star of the game with 1 assist, and then obviously the shootout
Yeah,
winner. That doesn't really make sense, does it? Should have been Lankinen.
it should have been Lankinen. Miller, obviously, his line was basically invisible until he got that assist, setting up Myers. So I wouldn't say that he had a first star quality game. Really, the only Canuck player that did have a star quality game was Lankinen. So especially coming in the way he did and making some of the saves that he did early, this game could have got out of hand and out of reach. So for him to make those saves, allow the Canucks to get to a 3-1 lead, was huge. So definitely don't agree with those stars tonight, but it is what it is, and sometimes you just have to take those picks with a bit of a grain of salt because you never know who is in charge of making those selections.
Do you think the Canucks have anything on the roster that they can do to try and take a look at their power play? Because obviously, without Quinn Hughes, it's looking pretty limp out there. Do they have like what do they need to do to try something different, or are they just screwed until Quinn Hughes gets back?
I mean, the best option for someone who can move the puck is obviously Brandstrom. We've seen that, but defensively, he is a liability right now. Um, there is the option of running 5 forwards, putting your best two-way forward out there to work the point that still has some defensive insight, but then you also really run the risk of really messing up your lines and handcuffing yourself after the penalty is over. You got to make a quick change to get 2 defensemen out there. So there's all sorts of things that go into that side of it. Um, Short of bringing up some reinforcements from the minors, um, they don't really have that guy down there that's quarterbacking the power play. That's really just taking the reins and running with it. So they're tough shoes to fill. I mean, Quinn Hughes is the Norris Trophy winner. He could very easily win it again this year, and this year he's having an MVP quality season. I mean, we see how important he is to this team when he's out late in the late in the game when he would normally be out there. We're seeing guys out there making mistakes, and he's not out there as the calming presence, not only being Quinn Hughes, but also being the captain of this team. So missing their leader is starting to show, and you can see it when they start to panic a little bit. But then that leads me back to why in the hell does Rick Tocchet hate timeouts so much?
I don't know. Maybe timeout hurt him back in the day. It did something wrong.
When was the last time we saw him call a timeout? Like, honestly.
I don't know. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember a single timeout being called this entire season by Rick Tocchet.
Like, it seems like it's like he just refuses to do it, and have no worldly idea why.
Because I mean, if you use your timeout, then you don't have a coach's challenge, right? So that would probably be the only reason.
Maybe, but if you're using your timeout late in the game, then use your timeout.
Yeah. Maybe that's something they need to disconnect, right? Like coach's challenge and timeout, maybe they shouldn't be connected. Because at the end of the day, if you do a coach's challenge, you end up you get a if you lose your coach's challenge, you get a penalty anyway. So maybe they're just overkilling it a bit.
Yeah, and I thought they had done away with that. So I don't know what they I mean, you see other coaches call timeouts all the time to settle their team down, and it's just something that never gets done. He relies on the team itself to do that, and I just think that there's moments where he needs to step in and take the reins and be the leader of the team and be the coach. And there's just times that he doesn't do that, and we end up falling on our heels and having to fight through overtime or a shootout to get the win.
Well, just before overtime was wild. Like they weren't even talking. Like the coaches were all just standing there with their arms folded. Everyone was just sitting on the bench. Like, isn't going to 3-on-3 overtime? Shouldn't there be some kind of discussion happening about the game plan moving into overtime?
Yeah, you would think so. You would think that you would have someone drawing up some plays or things like that, and it just strikes me as odd the way the offense is coached this season. We've seen the aggressive drop off in scoring throughout the whole lineup. Last season at this time, I think we were top five in the league for goals for. So it's something that needs to be looked at a little further than just the players struggling and then not being healthy and not having chemistry. Um, at some point, they need to start pointing the finger at systems and structure and the way that this team is being utilized.
Yeah, the Canucks are currently like right in the middle of the pack when it comes to goals for. They're at 112 goals for, I think now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 112 for, 115 against. So they're actually a -3 on the season so far.
Yeah, and I think if you look at last year, it's probably a drastic difference.
Yeah. So the Canucks back to back, it's been really tough on them. Not too much travel, obviously. Moving from Seattle to Vancouver, they'll be back home by what, like probably midnight or something like that. Shouldn't be too bad. What are you expecting to see from Nashville, who's sitting in third last in the whole league, but still beat us last time when they were dead last in the league?
Well, I mean, even being last in the league, they still have a lot of firepower. I mean, look at what they went out and got in the offseason. Um, Obviously, they are struggling to find chemistry with their new pieces as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of their struggles is they don't have a lot up the middle, which has not fared well for the new wingers they've brought in because they really don't have anyone to distribute the puck. So that's something that we hopefully will be able um, to capitalize on. Hopefully, our centers can win lots of faceoffs and control possession more. Um, we'll just have to drive the play, get in there, win those puck battles, reload, and be sharp because and also stay out of the box because obviously the last thing you want to do is let Stamkos set up in his office on the left side there.
Do you think they keep Breezewell in after tonight? Do you think his performance was good enough to warrant a second look tomorrow?
Hard to say. On a back-to-back, they likely rotate someone else in. But maybe he stays in and we see Brandstrom come back in for Juleson, because I think it's time for Juleson to come out of the lineup.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Especially if it comes out that Demko's going to be out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, we just can't have nice things, man.
No, it's funny because like I think we talked about it earlier in the year where essentially last year we were the number one team at the Christmas break. I mean, JT Miller, Pedersen, and Quinn Hughes were like top 3 scorers in the whole league, right? Like there was no injuries, everything was going as good as it possibly could, right? So is this just our karma for last year?
Maybe it's just the universe balancing itself out. Maybe we had it too good, too much of a good thing too fast. I don't know. It just seems so strange, the drastic difference from last year. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that is why so many fans, even analysts, are just so confused. This team has no identity. And you look to your captain to give you that. And obviously, Hughes is kind of that guy that is just blank. Any given moment, when you look at him, he looks like nothing's really going on there. So that kind of is the Canucks, right? They're kind of a blank identity. They don't really have a particular thing that you can point to and be like, yeah, this is who you're playing against when you play the Canucks. Right now, it's like, who knows?
Yeah. I don't think we'll find out for a while now who the Canucks are because we don't even have our entire roster together right now.
Yeah. And it's going to be difficult to make any major moves when you have all these injuries, keeping guys out of the lineup that are so important. So we will have to see where things go from here. But I'm sure we will see some movement tomorrow. Maybe potentially we see Petey come back from his injury already, and he can get back in the lineup tomorrow against Nashville. Or definitely next game, he should be good to go, because I believe he was only supposed to miss a week.
Now, did I see your partner Katie saying in chat, are you guys going to the game tomorrow night?
We are.
Nice.
Yes.
Going to see them live for the first time this year.
Going to see them live. So I will be unavailable tomorrow night for
well, I was gonna say normally we bring you on for like 15 minutes in the first intermission. How do you feel about just doing like maybe a quick touch in from the stadium in the first intermission, maybe like 5 minutes or something like that?
Absolutely do that.
Cool. We'll just call you on the phone. We'll do it. We'll do it raw.
Yep. Call me on the Discord. We'll do a little live update, and we'll chat about what's going on off screen.
Yeah, it's always fun to get that live look into the stadium too. It always has a different feel. We can actually see what's going on without the HD cameras that they have on Sportsnet.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome, Dustin. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll chat to you in the first intermission then. Any last words for chat before I let you go?
We just got to be patient. I know it feels tough right now, but we did get the win tonight. We found a way, and there's no pictures on the scorecard. So just take the win, move on, and hopefully we can have a better start and a better game tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks. Enjoy the game tomorrow night, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Have a great night.
Nothing is perfect.